I just, for me, I'm like, I see you as like some kind of holder of down here in the South. You know what I mean? Like, because boy, can you hold fucking energy. I mean, Jesus, right? Don't worry about that. So it's like, I mean, how did you, or do you? I suppose you've explained it a little bit, but it was like my first attraction, or when I thought, oh, we'll talk on the pod, was like, this is a fairly obscure uh not belief system, but pantheon, and
Yeah,
you've
yeah,
managed to bring it forward, not just hold the energy for it, but connect and expand it. Like, that's fucking unreal.
mm,
I've managed to remember something from my past, if you want to call it like that. you know
yeah,
I mean, it's a bit weird, I know that, and I know that the names for me are a bit funny, like Mu, what, Ra. I mean, everyone thinks it's an Egyptian fucking god. It fucking isn't, people.
yeah,
Please, it's
yeah,
not. It's a force. It's an energy. It's the creative juju, for Christ's sakes, right?
yeah,
So
yeah,
it's sort of like, for me, that transcends through. It's not necessarily like, it's not a person. It's a force.
yeah,
So
yeah.
in saying that, how did you manage to get up every fucking day and hold the flame? How did you manage when you got knocked down, or people going, you fucking weirdo, whatever it was? How, like, what rune did you use? No, like, how did you manage to, make it something that is now not just tangible, but you can live your magical life? You're
Mm,
not just Thank Teller by day. That was for you, Sharon. And the
yeah,
multivision arts by night,
yeah,
but
yeah, yeah.
it's like, how did you do it? Because I think that's a real divide for a lot of people. And hopefully you can tell people more about it at our upcoming magical visionary arts retreat.
How exciting. I heard all about that. I was dying like with excitement.
Right? Yes, yes, yes. Oh,
I
you're
think
headlining,
um,
mate.
part is to never let go of who you are. When you start to discover who you are, it's beyond a who, it becomes a what. You know, we come from this amazing place that's not this realm, not this time. When you start to remember, just keep remembering and don't let that fear or that judgment or those programs and that old shit, don't let it get in your way. Um, for me, it was very, very challenging. I remember really vividly working at a school when I was wearing my pentagram ring, and the principal called me in, and the assistant principal was there, and they basically told me that I was a Satanist and that wasn't going to work for them. And I was like, well, first of all, you're uneducated. You have no idea what that is.
Yes,
I
to
do
say.
have satanic background. I have dabbled in Satanism as part of my journey to find my path. Absolutely. I looked at fucking everything, Buddhism, everything. Like, I pulled on everything. And I'm
Sure.
like, first of all, you're incorrect. Let me educate you. Second of all, how dare you? This is a public system. This is a state school system in New South Wales. You don't have the right to criticize or um, to pull me down because you don't understand something. Happy to teach you, happy to share, but I could very well have broken in that moment and that could have destroyed my path. But because I am a fiery bitch, there is no way I was going to let that get in my way. So I went even harder. Then I taught for a whole term. I taught celebrations as a unit to my class. We pulled a celebration from every fucking religion that I could find that aligned with the calendar at the time, and none of it was from an Abrahamic religion. And the parents were thrilled. They were like, wow, our kids are so worldly. Look at them exploring these ancient religions and like this. And it all aligned with the curriculum. It was all above board. And they hated it. They absolutely hated it. And I just thought, fuck you. Worked so hard to be here. I'm at the top of my game in terms of my education. Don't pull me down because you don't know what I am or who I am. And so that gave me the impetus to just keep pushing and pushing and pushing and pushing. And you can do both. You can live a mundane life and have a magical existence. That's what we're here to be. We're meant to be magical beings in meat suits that have to live in society. The biggest shift was when my daughter had my grandson and her health declined. She became very, very sick, and I had to take time off work to be there for her and for him. And at that point, I realized that to the department, I was just a number. It didn't matter if I was there or not the world wasn't going to implode because I wasn't, you know, running the school and doing the things that I was doing. And I had to draw on the runes then, and I had to pull the goddesses in to help protect her and to shield the family. And I thought, I don't know if we're going to get through this. And she'd gone through some pretty significant abuse at that time, and there was court stuff going, and everything sort of imploded. And I thought, wow, my whole world's falling apart. I need to draw on my magic now more than bloody ever to get us through this. And so I tried everything that I could, and I just kept working and working and working. And then the universe kind of opened up and said, you're not meant to be doing this anymore. I did return to work because I didn't listen to the signs. And then it was at the time when COVID sort of hit, and the universe was like, you need to leave. You need to get out of Sydney. This is not healthy for you. You need to leave. And we did. We packed up our shit, a house of 14 years, quit my job, said goodbye to Sydney, and we popped over the border to the Gold Coast, and kind of been here ever since. So that's when I started Starkraven Runes as a business, because I'm like, that helped me survive. We did a huge bind rune magic for COVID. Within 3 weeks, everything had calmed down. So I know that, you know, wasn't me, it was everyone that was working together collectively on this stuff. And I thought, these times of crisis, when the world is falling to shit and everybody hates each other and everyone's getting poisoned and all of this chaos is happening, the people who drew on their magic were the ones that could get through it and survive it. It's our job now to help shine the torch for other people, to guide them through their stuff. So don't give up hope. Keep going to the bank until you got that opportunity to leave
are so
the bank,
inspirational.
pull in your magic,
You're so
and just keep working.
inspirational. You know, like I get a bit cynical. You know, I've just met a lot of dickheads. I mean,
And that's a healthy viewpoint to have, though. That's pretty healthy.
and you know, it's disheartening sometimes.
Yeah.
But you know, when I hear this, when I feel your juju as you're speaking it, it's like, yeah, fuck. You know, it's like, I don't want to save humanity. Christ, flush them, right? It's more, I want conscious.
The train, they've already left the station. You don't even have to worry about them.
Right, and it's careening down the fucking. I want consciousness back. I want integrity back. I want, people to pull it all back in, so to speak. I notice when I go on that social, I'm out. I'm projecting myself out, and it's so fucking diluting. I prefer, in. So that in itself is an art. But I'm thinking, my head is going, I really like the idea of that curriculum you put together of the different holidays. I think that could be a nice little package you could sell as an online. So, when we were talking before about studying with you, is that like you have it online, or you have it, people have to come there? Like, how does it work?
Most of it's done online, because I like people to have their comfort place, because the world is a crazy place, and we know that. It's challenging to get together in the same place. However, I crave human connection. So the first Wednesday of every month, we meet as pagans in the pub down at my brother's brewery, Hound and Stag. He's a pagan. He's a heathen. So I know, I've watched this place built from the ground up. He's done a brilliant job of energetically cleansing the place. He honors Aegir, the god of ale and beer in Norse mythology. So he's always there, keeping shit flowing. And he's an award-winning brewer. Like, this guy knows his stuff. Started brewing beer in his bloody garage, for Christ's sake. And, 3 years later, here he is, this award-winning international superstar brewer. But that place for human connection is where we come and talk about stuff. The learning side then happens when you're comfortable in your safe space. So a lot of it's done on Zoom. That helps me connect with people. I've got seekers in America, Mexico. I had some in India for a time being, Ireland. And so connecting with these people is very powerful, because they can do it in the safety and the comfort of their own home. We don't have to worry about traffic. We don't have to worry about tolls. We don't have to worry about any of that bullshit. Sit at home in your pajamas, smoking, drinking, whatever you need to do. I'm happy. Like, let's just connect whenever we can. And for people who are looking at the spiritual side of things, I teach Norse spirituality as well, which is like a 3-month program. And that's where I guide you through connecting to you. You were just saying, bring it in. You want people to bring it in. That's exactly what you do. People think you've got a body, a mind, and maybe a soul. For the Norse, there's 10 bits, 9 bits if you take out the other one other bit that may or may not be a part of you. It's sort of an awareness, but those 9/10 bits of you, when you connect into them really deeply, you discover what you are, that magical being that's got so many bits to it. So we start with the leek, which is your physical body, you know, the body, the meat suit, the bones, the sinews, the muscles. We connect really deeply to that. We go through like your thoughts, your memories, that past stuff. We go through your Megan, your essence, that power that's in you, the breath, the power of your breath, incredibly powerful. People who don't do breath work or don't connect to their breath forget that it's even a thing. Right through to that Od, which is like your consciousness. How are we tapping into source? How do we know what our consciousness is doing? So that's like, if you're not interested in runes, but the Norse spirituality is for you, then that's a really cool place to drop in and learn a little bit about yourself. I do teach Norse mythology as a more of an academic sort of course, which is group-based. We have people, you know, a lot of people joining in on that, still done on Zoom. But that's got an esoteric side too, where you'll learn about Frigg, then let's go and meet her. Let's connect to her in this container.
Oh, I got the chills on that one. Yes. Hello, Mrs. Frigg. Love you.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. You know, we'll learn about Thor. Let's go and meet Thor. Learn about Heimdall. Let's go and meet him at the Rainbow Bridge. Like, let's connect to these archetypes, however they resonate for you. And for some people, one of the people who was in our last course, Michelle, she does diamond light astrology. That's her business. And every time she'd connect with the god, she'd be like, oh my God, it's this planet energy and it's this old. And she was connecting all these dots. And I'm just going, wow, like this has opened up so much for me in this transaction.
I
Like
love
this
that.
energy. So I really welcome people to bring their beliefs, connect it in and go, no, that doesn't resonate for me. I don't understand it. Then 3 weeks later, they're like, holy shit, that makes so much sense now. I totally get it. So it just
Because they've
blends.
lost the name. You
Yeah.
know, like the name. I completely get it. Like, I get the whole, like, we work with the feels, you know, the feeling more so, because it's like, you know, people's version of whatever. It's a mind thing. Whereas when you go to the essence of, or, you know, you're going to meet that archetype, whatever you want to say, it's such a personal interface.
Yeah, absolutely. And it is, and I
You
remind
know,
people
and
all
it's
the
something you
time.
can't read.
Yeah. And all the time.
You know what I mean?
Everything that you read, know who it came from. Everything we have written down has come from Christianized Scandinavia. So everything will be written through a Christian lens. It's always written from a masculine lens. There was no woman source that we have authored back in the time when these beliefs were flourishing. Yes, there are stories handed down. We've got some folk tales. We've got a lot of Christian laws that say you must not sacrifice this horse and eat it. So we know they were sacrificing horses and eating it. If there's a rule about the thing, we're pretty sure they were doing the thing. You know, do not light bonfires and have sex in a field. It makes sense. They would light fires, having sex in a field. Great. So we've got some evidence, but a lot of the material, that source material that we tap into, written by privileged males who were high up in society, who had a purpose behind what they were writing. A lot of the translations don't always make sense, so you've got to be careful with that. But they're all Christian. What we have is some outside, you know, ethnographic stuff. We've got a Muslim who encountered people in Rusland, so the Rus gives us a bit of an idea of practices. We've got Tacitus who encountered Germans, the Germanic tribes. Caesar encountered the Germanic tribes, but they're looking at it from their perspective, their Roman gods. These were,
Outside.
Barbarians, you know, uncultured. They didn't have civilization. They had a rich civilization, they had a rich culture, they just couldn't see it. So we've got to take everything that we read with the feels, like read it, but then feel it, embody it, let it sit with you. Does it make sense? Probably not. So how are you going to make sense of this odd perspective?
But that's where I think doing it with you makes the difference, because you've been there.
Yeah.
You've paved the way. You know what I mean? I'm a real believer that you can't take someone somewhere you haven't been. You know, it doesn't necessarily mean you took the same path, but that destination. If you're going to hold that space for the person to walk into, then you better have, you got to have something. And I think that having that experience with you would be better than just reading, you know? I mean, I'm fascinated. I had no idea, you know, I've got to get this fucking raw media going. I don't know how I'm going to do it. I'm dealing with
That's
some
your
interesting,
challenge.
huh? Another
Well,
challenge. I know I need a room for that.
just keep
But what
adding
I'm
it all
thinking
to
is,
the list.
all right, don't worry, it keeps getting bigger. I've got big shoulders, but
That's
it's
so
more like I'd love to hear the modern woman working with the goddess energy in this day and age in the Southern Hemisphere, because it takes the location away. You know what I mean? You
yeah.
have to, and brings it back to consciousness, back to the state of mind. And,
Mm.
you know, I love the idea of the everyday ritual. I love, you know, and in that, it doesn't necessarily have to be devoted to a god. It's devoted to yourself, but witnessed by the god. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
It's like they don't have to, you know, oh, but I don't know if I want to. It's not about worshiping these beings. It's about their inspiration, walking with them, with,
Mm.
you know, I mean, the Sekhmet, I experienced it as a lineage, not as a fucking goddess floating around.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah. Wow.
yes, there's definitely a pinnacle of force there, don't get me wrong. But I mean, the Sekhmet throughout time and space, the Sekhmet were deployed in different places. The Sekhmet have their own agenda, if you will,
Yes.
you
Yeah.
know. So I'm really excited to turn people on. So do we do it to your website? Like, how do we turn people on to Stark Raving Runes?
Well, the website's the easiest place to find all of the stuff. I do posts on there as well. It's interesting you're talking about the daily stuff, because one of my big passions is daily ritual. Like, you wake up in the morning, the first thing most people do is go to the bathroom. So have your runes sitting beside you there, or take something there where you can do your gratitudes in the morning, or when you make your cup of coffee, whatever rune's in your mind, draw your rune over your cup of coffee in the morning and drink that, imbue it in your body, walk with it inside you. If you're making food, carve runes into your food, ingest the food, like eat it, make it real, bring it into your body. It's not this abstract being that's over there, or this high and mighty thing. But the other thing, you mentioned worship. We don't worship necessarily, but we certainly have a relationship with the different gods and goddesses. And that, it's not one of, can you do for me? Like you see that in Abrahamic religions. I will praise you because I want you to do shit for me. The gods are like, you can do your own shit. Here's the tools.
Transactional, like a
Yeah, here's some
transactional
tools.
relationship.
Yeah,
If
here's
I'm
some
a good
information.
girl, you'll help me, just like Santa. If I, obey, wow, that's a real fucking hello, isn't it?
Yeah,
You
it
know what I
is.
mean?
And it goes beyond gods and goddesses. Like, for the most part, we're animistic in our practice. So there's a spirit in everything, there's an essence in everything. And people do it without thinking. Their phone dies and they're talking at it, going, oh, yeah, fuck, why not? Same with your car when it breaks down, like, baby, get me to the next. Personalizing and meganating, giving essence and life to non-alive things. And it's this belief that everything has energy, everything has, we see that with atoms. Science has proven it. Everything's got energy. So honor that energy. What are the plants
Yeah,
in your backyard trying to tell you? What are your gardenias telling you? Like, then that's an exchange of love. The gardenia is representing beautiful love. This springtime, we're moving into summer. Like, every time the gardenias come out at the front of my house, I'm like, fuck yeah, summer holidays are coming up. Like, I feel it.
yeah.
So connecting to the land, it's not about being a tree hugging hippie. It's about I mean, that's great too. We embrace all, but it's connecting to the land. What are the land spirits saying? What do the water spirits say? What do the tree spirits say? Like, what are you doing to have a relationship with them? And that's part of why veganism became a choice for me, because I had that animistic approach to, well, actually I could eat it and taste it, and it started making me physically sick. So I had to make a conscious choice. But it's, if you are eating the animal, are you honoring the animal? I have
Yeah.
a brilliant speaker in Texas who is a hunter, and people are like, how can you as a vegan be, helping guide a hunter? And because she honors the beast, she does it with intention and purpose, and she has a soul connection. And
Judgment. How
it's
can you help? God Almighty. Oh, whoever I'm talking to.
it's even if you're getting, and they're like, well, how do we do that in the modern world? I'm like, well, when you get your piece of meat from the bloody Woolworths supermarket, bring it home and just spend 3 seconds, honor it, honor the beast, thank it for its sacrifice, and then cook it. Carve a rune into it if you want, and then cook it. You're not adding magic as a on top of, you're embedding it in your daily rituals anyway. You always have a shower, great way to cleanse off the shit. Consciously think about it while you're having a shower. I'm washing away the negativity of the day. That shitty person I encountered at the supermarket or whatever it is, wash it off, but do it with intention. And it can be pretty easy to just switch things up a little bit.
Yeah. Oh, I'm excited. So we're sending people to the website and
Yes.
they can purchase the deck there. I mean, I just went on to blueangel.com. I'll flash it up onto this. You know, like I'll put it in the show notes because that's where I got access to the deck. And then from there, you can actually physically click on to buy the deck, or you can buy it from your
So
site.
you can buy it. If you buy from mine or Sharon's, we personally sign them for you. So I'll write a little message for you inside the front cover and send it to you. Yeah, it's pretty cool. So I've got that there. Facebook's another place you can message me, even Instagram. Like I have a lot of people who say the website, I couldn't quite find how to connect with you, particularly if you're wanting to do the course. Like you can pay up front on the website, but if you want to pay it off over time, which I offer because I want it to be accessible. So it's, like that session, you pay per session rather than pay the whole course up front. That just makes it so much more accessible for people. So I just do that, just contacting me directly either through Instagram, Facebook, or on the website.
Okay, groovy.
I think the Viking TV series came out at the right time when humanity was prepared for the Norse Pantheon to step back in. They've always been here, they've always been amongst us, but it's been, we've kind of been on the fringes doing our weird woo-woo stuff by ourselves. So now that it's there, don't be afraid if that's your roadblock, because and stay away from the gatekeepers. There are a lot of people out there that will say that it has to be ushered through as a religion. You have to be formally trained and you have to read the Eddas and bullshit. You need to be you, and you need to pick up what resonates for you. So just walk in your authenticity, embrace what you're feeling, go and sit outside in nature, connect to nature, see what's coming through, but find your way. And I'm happy to be the torchbearer for you because it's my passion, it's what I love. And if you are wanting to learn a little bit more, or even if you've got questions, you want to ask me something, I'm always happy to help. So reach out however you need to. You can email me as well, send me a text message, whatever. All my contact details are on my website, and you can reach out whenever you need to.
So cool. That's so cool.
And thank you, Vicky, for having me here. It's
my pleasure. I love having a chat with you, girl.
Oh my God.
I love it.
Ever since I saw Sharon's, I've just been obsessed, like watching all the old podcasts. Like, you're so
oh my God. Look, I had a channel for a while because I was so sick of people coming and not knowing, and I had to keep explaining it. So I started with the channel, the YouTube. And when podcasts came, I thought, I've just been doing podcasts just on you know what I mean? Like on the YouTube. No biggie. So I like the visual because I do think something comes across. I think that we're all doing similar stuff in the sense of connecting people with integrity, staying alive, consciousness that is this earth.
Yeah.
Looking for connecting with allies, etc. Be that on any realm. And just fucking rock it, like while we're here, let's just, explode. Let's just have some fun.
And there's no cap to it. Let's just think big, like be expansive. That's the joy. Like live the human experience. It's a lived experience. So let's fucking live it. Let's have a wild time while we're doing it. And if you want to quit your bank job and go and read runes in a gypsy wagon in a rainforest for a living, fucking do it. It's great. It's amazing. You can
tomorrow.
Just do it.
No, agreed. And yeah, I'm so excited about all your stuff. I'm really considering coming for one of those rune courses. I mean, as I said, I do my runes, etc., but they're all the same thing. It's like encapsulating an expression and then giving it life. And I love how you take it through as an experiential that becomes the journey. That's is the oh no, I'm fucking up for it. It sounds fantastic.
It's fun. And the fact that you get to make your own runes as you go is really, really cool. Like, I teach you all the different materials that you could use and different ways of doing things. And there's no judgment. I've got a lot of people who'll, sit in their little clans and they're all being pagans and playing ritual and pretending they're Vikings and all of that stuff. Great. If that's for you, enjoy it, like embrace it. Whatever is your authentic self, fucking love it. Like do whatever you've got
Pagan.
to do. But
Love it.
you know, if you're wanting to dip in a bit more, you know, deeper into what works for you, there's no judgment in my space. You know, there's people who'll judge and say making runes out of resin is not the way to do it. Well, I've just had a seeker finish last year who made resin runes with drops of her own blood, parts of birch tree bark that she'd sourced from her homeland, blended it all together, infused it with magic, add little gold flakes and everything that was magical for her. The most fucking powerful runes I've ever seen. Like you can't judge somebody else's. And she was like, no, I'm definitely doing wood, and it's going to be hawthorn wood, and it's going to be this. And then when we talked about, you know, without judgment, with freedom of expression, she's like, yeah, I can put blood in there, I can put this birch tree bark that's so important to me, and all these other little things. Amazing. What a process. And encapsulated in resin because we've modernized it. We don't have to be fearful of modernizing things. We live in a contemporary society. And I know damn well the healers in my ancestral line, they're so fucking stoked that you can boil a kettle. I can't tell you the number of times they will sit there if I'm doing spell work and I need to boil something up. They're like, oh, that kettle is amazing, isn't it? I'm so excited because they don't have to make shit with a fire out in the backyard. Like occasionally I'll do that too. But yeah, like embrace modernity and use it. It's the result of what our ancestors did. They didn't move, you know, and people talk about the point of origin and how important it is to honor that. Absolutely honor it. But they didn't stay with stone tools. When they started working with things, bronze and iron fucking exploded. Like embrace new technologies, social media. How else could I connect with people overseas who are doing amazing things? How could I be talking to you right now? Like embrace it. It's powerful. Let's use it for the right tools. Let's use it as the tool it is to do the right thing and to expand our consciousness, connect, because that's what we're meant to be doing.
Well, next time you come on, only because I'm watching this and I know I don't want to miss your mentorship, but I really want to talk about blood in ritual because it's been so taboo. You know, like for so long, it was like blood, you know, like that was, you were automatically a Satanist. You were automatically doing something untoward. Whereas I find if you can let that blood at that culmination moment, there's something in that. There's some visceral engagement that changes the experience that I think it's been made fearful, you know, like so people, but I totally encourage it for consecration purposes. I think it's you. It's the essence of you flowing. It's like your water, so to speak. And you know how water's all over the place at the moment. Everyone's talking water. Anyway, so we will do that next time. We'll talk to ritual tools.